Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. What's up, wrestling fans? Worlds Collide. It's another week. We're here to talk wrestling. Wrestling, R-A-S-S-L-I-N, as Glenn Goza. Do you even know Glenn Goza? Do you know that song?
I don't.
Wow. I feel so old. Like I try to make this reference about Glenn Goza and going to wrestling and how like that was a big thing with world class and people are like, what's world class? I'm like, okay.
That I do know.
Let's move on. Tony, before we get too far off the rails, how's it going tonight?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Got the some relatives over for my son's birthday this week. So, but other than that, just sitting here looking forward to doing some Worlds Colliding.
Speaking of worlds, man, what a segue. I don't think you don't ever intend our segues and they always work out.
No, just they just work out naturally.
So let's talk AEW Upper Deck. It's here. It's come and gone. It's out in the wild. There's a lot to talk about. So as this title of this show, now what? So let's talk about the initial reaction to the product. I'll just let you start. There's a lot of. Let's talk about the product itself. What do you think about the cards and the promotion around the cards?
I know we talked about recently about some of the people's reactions were not positive about designs like that. I beg to differ. I think it's a cool looking design. I think it's I love the chase. I love the dynamite stuff. I love the what's the other one they call pyro. Yeah, I like those. They're cool. Some of them are a little difficult to differentiate from a normal one, but they're cool. I think overall the set is really cool. I think it lived up to the hype in the sense that people were excited. I think it's a lot of stuff going on social media. People are back and forth about this, that, and the other. We can go across a bunch of different things about pricing and other stuff too, but
which we will.
I think promotion wise, you couldn't ask for something better. You really couldn't. I mean, when you have a card company that's willing to whatever their arrangement is with the company of AEW and being able to put on a commercial or it's not even a commercial. It's through, I believe it's like live while they're having the program.
Correct.
They talk about it and there's some sort of like a graphic design on the TV or something like that. Yes. I guess. So that's something we don't ever see in our hobby. I don't even know if in other hobbies as well.
No, I was gonna say you don't really see that in sports very much either.
I think it's just it's the right way to do it. I think they're doing it, and they're also attacking a lot on social media, which I love. I love they interact with people who are breaking and posting their hits. They're interacting with answering some oddball questions like, I just got this CM Punk autograph card. Where the hell did it come from? Kind of thing, and they're engaging and
When's the last time Topps did that with us?
Exactly. Unless you're complaining about something, they're like, we'll have somebody from our service center.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, no, they're actively out there like, congrats on the hit. This is on fire. No, this is coming soon. And they're constantly engaging with the collectors out there on social media, which is awesome. They're building a relationship, and I think that's important.
Yeah, the relationship is the first and foremost relationship or promotion. It's been phenomenal. The product itself, I thought it was an okay first experiment. Like I really like the dynamite and pyro parallels. I really like the off the top rope and Wednesday in action. Those cards are really cool.
I like the canvas cards too.
I was just kind of lukewarm on, I don't think they're bad, but maybe I had higher expectations. One thing, I like the dotted line autos. I know we've not seen a lot of those because they're hard to pull, but they're basic. They look, the image that they picked for the different talent, I think it looks really cool. And I don't know. I think it was just I'll call it a home run for a first initial product. Considering that I don't know that we had a lot of expectation. We didn't necessarily expect them to have super high end stuff. Like we saw some samples of relics and autographs and stuff like that. I think people were let down a little bit by the odds and, well, I'm not getting an automatic auto. We're going to talk about the effects of that when we start talking about pricing, because I actually think it's a good thing. But one thing I wanted to move into, and this will be an interesting discussion, is the community reaction and kind of how divided and how divisive some of this has gotten. So what have you seen from the wrestling card community after the fact of these things opening and then some of the sales?
Well, it's about as much as there is in the actual division between being a WWE fan and being an AEW fan. So it's the same division right there. You're going to get people who are going to, talk some smack about one or the other. And that's kind of happened with the card talk too. So you're going to get people out there that are engaging in talking about, well, I'm not a big fan of the product, and I think the design was poor, and the odds don't justify the cost of the product. And demand is what it's a real simple supply and demand equation here. So whether there's still a lot of supply, demand is still extremely high, and people are willing to pay the price for a box. If there was no demand for it, then box prices would go down.
Right.
They still sit around that price point of 200 plus, on average. You're going to find some cheaper. You're going to find some much more expensive. But people are still paying for it. They're still paying for it for a shot, at something possible, because, it's still early. So we'll see in a month from now, we'll see 6 months from now, will these prices, be sustainable? I don't know. I don't think they're going to be honest with you, but it's the community is as divided as they are as just being fans of the product itself, of each other's products. So, which is cool, because I think it's all cool anyways. I think having a little bit of rivalry like that, having a little bit of well, I'm a WWE guy, I'm a this guy, I think it's cool. It just they're
the Monday Night Wars all over again, just in cardboard form.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're talking about it. So even the bad press is still good press.
Right, I agree. One thing that's exciting is we've seen it's hard to pull autos. We've seen a lot of the singles come out. We've seen the pricing. People are like, I can't wait until I can find retail blasters. And I'm like, when's the last time we got somebody that was extremely excited to go find blasters? You know what I mean?
Well,
the fact that there's a demand for even blasters is amazing.
That's all I got. I got
I think it's a cool card.
And then I got this other one here. So I got this dual swatch. It's number one. Number one of and what I'm showing here, guys, it's a tag team one, private party. It's a swatch card from the AEW. It's numbered to 99, and it's number one of 99 on that one. And then the other one I was showing was the Cody Rhodes, like that, which is out of 199. That's number 23, whatever. So,
and you got those out of the hobby box, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So, but it's good stuff, and it's exciting. It's causing people to talk about it, and that's all I really care about, is that people are talking about wrestling cards. And I'd be just as stoked if it was a WWE product. I don't care about what company it is.
Oh yeah, I still I think we'll both agree that we were huge fans of the Chrome product and everything that came out in that. But there's people coming into the AEW product that I don't think were collecting before.
No,
and
you're right.
It's what we've talked about before with them having such a die-hard fan base that it reminds you. And it's a little bit different, but it kind of reminds you of that ECW vibe, where it was they were so dedicated to that organization. That's how this AEW fan base is. And the fact that they're getting into these cards and getting excited about base cards, again, we're going to talk about some numbers in a minute, but that's just extremely exciting to me. And it's pretty positive direction, I think, as we go forward in the future. So
it's just putting more eyeballs on the hobby in general, period.
Right. So let's talk about some sales. And this is where I think it gets really interesting. And I would like your opinion on if you think this is going to go up or down, or even if it matters. But when we break a WWE product, or we look at the secondary market of singles, let's take Heritage, for example. You can go out and buy a complete set of Allen and Ginter. People love the design of those cards. They're like, oh, they got Warrior, they got AJ Styles, they got Razor, all $20, maybe even less than that for a complete set.
I saw them at the gate. They were going for like 30, 35, delivered, for stuff like that. But the price has come down about $10 on those.
So here we have like AEW singles selling for anywhere, $5, give or take, for just base singles.
A base single, which is cool,
Yeah.
but it's a first. Everything we're going to talk about when it comes to pricing, it's all about because it's the first. It's the first AEW official release.
Right. So one thing I looked at was the Pyros and the Dynamites, which I told you, I mentioned earlier, is one of my favorite parallels. There's something about the Pyros, the Dynamites, excuse me, that the sparkly red stuff in the background just like pops off the card, no matter what talent is on it. But those are selling, on the lower end, like $5 up towards $30 for some of the bigger talents. And then, those are a little bit harder to find. But then you want to talk about the autographs. How many WWE talents autographs can you go out and buy for like $5?
A lot.
$10. Most of these autographs are selling anywhere between 50 and then upwards of 300, and that is just for the average talent. We're going to talk about some sales here in a minute of some of the bigger names that are going just ballistic right now. Anything on the base, relics, or random autographs before we talk about some of the big sales?
No, they're the relics themselves are just, they're typical. You'll see a couple variations. I saw a pink one, but for the most part, they all seem to be black.
Have you pulled any of the actual ring mat cards? Did you pull any of those?
I did not pull any ring mat cards, no.
I haven't seen any. I've seen them pulled, but I'm wondering, I don't think it does, but it would be cool if on the back of the card it specified what event it was from. I've talked about I've seen people actually building collections out around a relic ring mat set of an event they were actually at. And I was like, man, that's a cool way to collect. So
it is a cool way to collect. It is.
So let's talk about some really big sales. We had the Kenny Omega dotted line autograph. It was listed at $9,999. However,
don't know unless you try.
That's right. And the seller tried and got a best offer accepted of $2,500. This was confirmed by Tony on Twitter, not this Tony, at Cardboard Picker on Twitter.
There's too many of us.
There's a lot of Tonys out there. Remember that group, Tony?
Dude, if you were sitting right next to me right now, I would punch you in the face so hard.
Oh boy, that was unplanned.
All this time that we've known each other now, and you haven't brought it up once. I'm glad it's out of the way now. I'll never bring it up again.
I think this is the first time we've had to mention that, and within such a small frame of time. But anyway, Cardboard Picker on Twitter, he actually pulled the card himself, and he confirmed it was paid, shipped, and delivered. This is a confirmed sale. There's a lot of people out there that wanting to discredit this sale and say this card isn't worth $2,500. This card isn't worth $2.
Or make the accusation that it's an inflated sale to kind of to create a market value that's false.
Right. No, this is from the guy himself who pulled the card, put it up for a ridiculous amount. It was accepted at what it was accepted at, paid, confirmed, shipped, delivered. It is what it is. I don't care what any of you guys out there say. You can disagree with us, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Moving on, Britt Baker out of 25 auto, $3,999. Of course, that wasn't accepted. However, a best offer of $894.01 was accepted.
When you put this stat on there, or this number, I'm
1
like,
cent.
1 cent.
Yep.
Like, I understood the $8.94 part. It's the 1 cent that threw me off.
That's eBay for you. You know how those people are. But almost $900 for, that's great.
Yeah, of course. It's a low number, 25. It's going to be, it's from the first ever product. I get the buzz on these prices. I get it. My question really is that we can, try to get into is, are they going to hold long-term value like that though? I don't know.
Well, I've got one more to mention, and then we'll start talking about some more numbers and Upper Deck in the future and Panini and some more fun stuff. MJF, 1/1 printing plate auto, $1,999.99. However, best offer accepted, $850. Really good price for an autograph printing plate. 1/1, of course, that, I know for a fact there's MJF collectors out there. So, if there's a 101, they've got to have it. So they're going to pay whatever it takes.
Yep.
So, anything, we've kind of talked about some numbers now. Is there anything that stands out to you as positive, negative, indifferent? We've seen
it's positive. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've just seen it all over the board, from this is awesome to criticism in the community. So I've just, overall, now that we've kind of gone over some numbers, what do you think?
The criticism really, I think, is coming from people who just aren't fans of the product to begin with, really.
So it's just like a negative bias.
Maybe a little bit like that. And then there's probably some out there who are just, legitimately don't like the design, legitimately don't care for, what Upper Deck put out. I beg to differ. I think it's a pretty good, flagship product for them.
Agreed.
And so I think, could you make some improvements for things? Probably, sure. But I think it's just a good design. I think it's a good flagship product. But numbers are part of the buzz. It's all part of a lot of people maybe don't want to suffer from FOMO, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. But that's why I think that, with that Kenny Omega, card, because he has so many other cards and autograph cards that are, lower numbered stuff that you could get for a hell of a lot cheaper price. But it's his first AEW card kind of thing, I guess. But
you think that goes back to the cult-like following of the fan base?
It could be. I mean, does AJ Styles stuff go for a lot more money because he's in WWE as opposed to his TNA products?
I don't know. I haven't really studied the market, but
So
I also
I
don't see the WWE fan base react like AEW fan base does.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
it's weird.
Well, when you have advertising on TV and you're going after your prime demographic of people out there, which is your fans watching your product, and hey, we've got trading cards. Well, I bet you a lot of people didn't even know that trading cards even existed still. It's like, oh, like baseball cards? Really?
Yeah.
They make wrestling cards? It's always
Right.
funny. You ever notice that when people go and talk about trading cards, their reference is baseball.
Baseball every time.
Baseball. Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, you mean like F1 cards? No. You mean,
hey, 40 years from now, that might be the thing.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Hopefully it's wrestling by then.
I hope it's wrestling instead.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're doing all the right things that Upper Deck is doing to promote their product by engaging on social media, by advertising live on their TV, on the episodes of Dynamite and stuff like that, when you're attacking your prime demographic of people who are strictly AEW fans, you're going to build an interest like that. It just never happened with WWE. I don't know if it's because WWE wants an S ton of money to put a logo, Topps logo on their TV and say, hey, pick up the new Topps Chrome where you can get the new Roman Reigns autograph, or whatever it is. It would be cool to see. It would be really cool to see. I never understood why they never did that. And I'm hoping that anybody who listens to this, who actually attends and goes to a live AEW event, are they selling cards at their event?
It's a good question.
I want to know. I want to know if anybody who goes to an AEW event is AEW investing in themselves. And
if you're going to AEW shows and you're listening to this or watching this, let us know in the comments or on social media. What are you seeing out and about? What are you hearing at the shows? Maybe people are talking about it. That's a good concept. Like, you go to the gimmick table and they've got the shirts and they've got the action figures probably. Sure. And there's even some cases where they have like show exclusive figures or shirts.
Sure.
Could you imagine if they did that for cards?
Yeah. I mean, imagine if they even took it a step further and made a show exclusive for like a major event, like, maybe they're, what is it, Double or Nothing or something like that. Right. They have, or, one of their major pay-per-views they have, and they had like a show exclusive that, for the 20,000 people or 15,000 people who come to you can come and get one of this exclusive pack of cards.
Right.
It's the same like 5 cards or 10 cards are in the pack, but it's exclusive to that show only.
Right. That's a great idea. The only thing I want to talk about as far as like the pricing and reactions and all that stuff before we move on is that like I just grew really, really tired of seeing all the negative aspects of it. And sure. that's from both sides though. It's from the like WWE fanboys saying, oh, this product sucks. It's not worth it. It's not the equivalent of WWE. Like who cares? And then on the opposite side, we've talked about it before. There are still the people that were excited about this and then refuse to get into it because they don't understand economics and they don't want to shell out the money because they don't think it's worth it. Because, you know, back in 1982, they could pay $5 for a box. You know, this it's just not the same world. If you want to be in the hobby, you've got to make choices and you got to figure it out, and that it is what it is. But, you know, it doesn't matter. Positive, negative, the fact that this is the biggest buzz I've ever seen around a wrestling product. It's out. The buzz has still continued. People that have broke boxes, even if they're not getting autographs, even if they're not getting relics, it seems like most people have been pleasantly surprised with what they've got and think
they're having the number one thing, people breaking things open going, hey, I didn't get an autograph, but it was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Products. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that seems to be a like common thing that people are posting about when they've done a box break or when they've posted their results of their box break on social media. So anything on that before we move on to what could potentially be in the future?
No, I just think it's fun. It's fun and positive. It's fun. Just putting more eyeballs on the product. It's great. So
agreed.
Yeah.
And just remember, if you're talking negative about it, you're still talking about it.
Still talking about it.
So let's move on to, what do you think Upper Deck could do with AEW in the future? You actually just mentioned something that would be cool, and that's doing show exclusive cards.
Sure.
We've seen like the National does silver packs, like, so they have their own type of trading cards for the National that you can only get there. So that's a cool idea. I think a lot of people, like, I heard them talking like, well, I didn't like the design. And my answer to that is, it's their very first release. I'm sure they're going to have the license for a while, and they've already started working on other things, which means, are they going to do a series 2? It's like a flagship. Are they going to do a higher end, which I've heard that they're going to do? What does a high end entail? So
my understanding is, as of the time that we're recording this like that, there will be one more release this year for AEW, and then their plans of 3 releases next year.
Do you think that's not enough or too many? 2 to 3?
I don't understand how a collector can keep up with, especially when WWE Topps is putting out the WWE stuff like that, and you had like almost 7, 8 releases a year, if not more. I'm not sure, but it just seems like a lot. How can you recover financially from, you know, trying to collect one release and then go right into another release? You're still trying to, collect the previous release. So I don't know. I think 3, 4 releases a year is great.
And I think it's also important, if you're going to do that, to kind of stair step the product. Have your flagship that's affordable, have your mid tier, have your high end. Like you make all the collectors happy, or you make like people who want to like just collect everything.
This flagship is definitely not on the affordable level, though. That's what people's gripes are. That it's double what the price it should be, as far as that's the control aspect of distributors and your retail stores that are selling stuff. So, but I mean, a cheap product is something that's under $100 a box. I've even heard people argue and complain that this box should have been $65 tops, because there's no guarantee of an autograph. I think. Do I agree with that? I can
look what $65 a box has done to WWE autos.
Yeah, it's made them worthless. I mean, I can buy them all day for $5 like that. But that's because it was guaranteed per box. Now, if you're going to go the same route that Upper Deck did, where it's like, every 4 boxes or so, you can get an autograph, but we're going to keep it at $65 a box. That kind of makes a little more sense. I can see that, from people who want to collect at that price point. But, I've always been a believer that you should have a very low, under $100 box price point that can get younger people involved into the hobby. It's like that as well. Then your mid, and then your upper. It's like that. I mean, I'm not talking transcendent type numbers, but I'm talking, undisputed type stuff. Or I'm guessing that Panini's example would be what? It's going to be what? Is Prism going to be their high end? Or what's Prism's?
Prism's kind of the middle.
Middle, okay.
It's
middle at $500 a box.
Yeah, because then they have like Chronicles, which is kind of their low end, and they have Hoops, which is their low end. But then they have the National Treasures and stuff that's like, we're just like they're transcendent, but even more expensive.
God, oh God.
Okay. Yeah. So do you think maybe we see that with blasters, though? Maybe that turns the tide for the people who say it's not affordable.
Well, blasters would be It's funny how people will say like, I can't wait for the blasters and the fat packs to come out. It's like that. It's like, well, you understand that your odds are going to be astronomically greater than to pull something really high end than they would be in a hobby box. It's always that way, really. I mean, it's just, you know, if you thought the odds were going to be hard to get a dotted line autograph out of a hobby box, wait till you see the odds for a blaster pack or a fat pack. So if you're just looking for like, well, it's too expensive for me to go out and collect a base set, then perfect. Fat packs and you know, blasters are going to be perfect for you then. But if you're looking to go and try to have a cheaper way to go out and get a chance at a higher end card, the odds are going to be just astronomical.
You're better off going to the secondary market and just getting what you want and just skipping all that. Yeah.
You know, unless you're looking at like you're trying to get, unless you're a flipper trying to go out there and get you know, blasters and like and hope that I just, you know, get that dotted line autograph or some any autograph.
Right.
Good luck to you, you know, but if you're looking for a cheap way to get into the product and just collect because you want to collect and have fun and you want to collect your Kenny Omegas or your MJFs, that'd be the perfect way to go.
So hypothetically, Upper Deck puts out.
Don't forget E-Packs too. Don't forget E-Packs.
Oh, and I said that on our last episode that we did on the roundtable. Wrestling card community, I'm so proud of you for adapting to E-Pack and learning a new way of doing something. It kind of gives me, between that and the diehard fan base that was around the Top Slam app, it kind of makes me excited for wrestling NFTs. I know not a lot of people don't want to talk about NFTs, but yeah, we still got that Undertaker one. I'm still glad we bought that.
Yep, me too.
Moving on though, what do you think hypothetically Upper Deck puts out a high-end release? We've already seen the complaints about, like, let's say they put out something that's similar to like a fully loaded where there, you know, it's like an autograph relic card, but maybe there's only 2 in a box. And maybe it's like, you know, $1,000 a box, hypothetically. We've already seen the complaints on the hobby. What do you think the complaints and reaction would be to that? Do you think people would still, they'd be like, okay, I'll pay $1,000 because I'm guaranteed an autograph? Or do you think it would just like, it's an interesting spot.
Look what Upper Deck did with the 8x10s, 11x14s they put up on their website for $500. I mean, I didn't see, I'm sorry to say, I didn't see anything positive about that from a fan reaction online at all. It was one bitch and gripe after another about how overpriced it was to pay that kind of money for an 8x10 or 11x14 online. And as somebody who works, you know, my primary income for a long time was doing the convention scene and booking talent and selling 8x10 direct to the fan base. Yeah, I found that to be super high priced. This is me, my personal opinion.
Right.
If someone's buying them, good. I mean, that's good for Upper Deck. Great. But I don't know if the fan base for AEW, if you want to compare them to ECW fans and being hardcore, yeah, their loyalty is one thing, but what's their income level? You know? And I don't know if their income level is going to possibly afford $1,000 box for a 2 hits, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing I would like Upper Deck to do, they have the licenses to create some of the highest end from like a secondary market standpoint and design. 2 things that stand out that they could do would be the precious metal gems.
Absolutely.
And the exquisite, which is generally it's a patch, it's a small patch and an autograph with a smaller picture. Anybody that's unfamiliar with precious metal gems or Upper Deck exquisite cards, you can go Google those. There's some really high-end LeBron exquisite rookie cards on there. And the precious metal gems, I mean, I'll take a second to talk about Marvel. The Marvel precious metal gems market right now has exploded beyond belief. And all they've got to do is take that same basic design and put MJF or Sting or Darby Allin on there, and they've got a hit. Yeah, they've got a hit on there, and they've almost got that with the Dynamite parallel. It's very, when I look at that, I'm like, I could kind of see some precious metal gems vibe or some Kaboom. I know that's another big one in the sports card world, but
I would not be surprised at all if either or both of those becomes an available product line down the line. I mean, I listened to the Card Foundation interview with those guys, and you know, they sound like they have a lot of cool things that they're looking forward to bringing to the collectors out there. And it's got to be one of them.
Yeah, if they do either an exquisite or PMG, like I'm in. I don't even care. You could give me the lowest jobber on the card, and I'm going to be interested in whatever they've got. So it's going to be interesting to see. Is there any kind of designs you would like to see that's maybe an AEW centric or something that you haven't seen done in wrestling cards that they could take advantage of?
Well, I mean, design wise, I've never been a person that's, I know we have our fantasy things when we do this is your card segments. So like that's like, get to be a little bit creative on that, but I've never really been overly critical of people's designs for the most part. I mean, we obviously have our things we like and we don't like, but I'm more interested always about from a trading card side is, their marketing of stuff and getting more people into the hobby. So the fact that Upper Deck is, stepping up to the plate and doing advertising beyond what we've ever seen before in wrestling cards is exciting to me. And I'm curious to see if they continue to keep wanting to do that. And if they have other plans on how to market themselves with that when it comes to this market of AEW fans. But design wise, no, I mean, precious metal gems are always great. Exquisite SPX would be kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
So I don't have a real. Those all just equal big dollars to me. And although to me, there's nothing in the product that I'm going after to collect. I only got the initial one because it's the first one. That's it. But no, I've got nothing that I would look forward to. But I guess depends. I do like. I opened a couple boxes of this flagship stuff, and I like the Dynamite. I like the Pyro line. I think it's really cool. I just love that just this kind of pop, and
yeah.
I don't know, precious metal gems. Maybe
I'm a sucker. Like I keep saying hockey precious metal gems, and I'm just like, oh, I don't even like hockey, but look at these cards, like they're amazing looking.
But then I mean, you got the Marvel ones. I don't collect anything Marvel like that, but I'm like, I'd take a Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's exact. And that's what I'm thinking would happen with wrestling. I'm always talking about how wrestling is character based, and all it would take is somebody to reach out, latch onto some sort of character that they just happen to see on TV one time, and the design.
Is it a precious metal gem of like Abaddon? I'd be like,
oh my gosh,
I take it.
Red,
I take it.
yeah, red PMG with Abaddon red all over, like that'd be great. So you've mentioned that you think maybe the price's popularity might come down a little bit. Let's talk about the current landscape of wrestling cards. In the next couple months, we've got Topps straggling releases coming out.
Yep.
AEW just came out. Then we're going to have Panini coming out with Prism. So, with all that being said, where do you think the Upper Deck is going to stack as far as popularity? Do you think this is going to be something that we continue to see for months? The just kind of buzz around it, people breaking boxes and pulling autographs. Do you think that kind of steps aside when we start seeing more Topps and Panini stuff coming out? Where do you think we're going with that?
Well, it's like having a new release of a movie coming out. So, you got Spider-Man, out there dominating the box office, and then something else like Scream comes out. It's going to take a big chunk of, people who've already had several weeks of watching Spider-Man. So, I mean, Upper Deck is, strategically putting out there, here's hobby. We're going to wait a couple of weeks. We're going to put out, retail. We're going to wait a couple more weeks and put out some fat packs. We're going to wait a couple more weeks to put out some e-packs. I mean, they're kind of strategically, stretching it out over some time so that people can kind of fully ingest it, putting them in action figures, putting parallels in action figures. I mean,
great idea.
They're kind of just stretching this out over time, which is great to keep that interest level, keep going. But yeah, so when I think that we've already expecting to have Topps Finest, we're expecting to have women's division coming out. So we got those coming out. We know they're coming. So yeah, people are going to kind of like, well, I'm going to grab them. That's still going to be, what it is. When that Prism set comes out though, that's going to take a lot of thunder away from the AEW product, I think. But I think it's got legs, man. I think it's got legs. And depending on how soon they put out their second AEW release, looking at probably end of summer, I think, for that.
That'd be a good time. Get people to recover from spending so much on the hobby boxes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if a card company thinks in those terms, like, let's be cautious of our customers' wallets.
No, probably not. Yeah,
I don't think they care. It's like, we're going to put out product, and they're going to find a way to get it.
Pretty much, yeah.
And It's like selling crack, man. I don't
Accurate.
know. So it's just I think it's got some legs. I like the way they're kind of directing this again at the different levels and how they're releasing product. But I don't think the WWE from top stuff is going to be overly hurtful to the AEW brand. It's that Prism set when Panini takes over, that first set comes out. That's going to be like everyone's going to talk about that. And as we've talked about in previous episodes, we're going to have a lot of new eyeballs coming into that market now because they're used to that Prism line.
Yes.
So there's going to be people who are not normally WWE or wrestling fans looking for ways to flip and get involved in that kind of stuff. So that's going to cause a lot more eyeballs in it. So all in all, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff for our hobby. All of it is.
I have some interesting opinions. I think that this straggling WWE product is actually not going to be that popular. I think the people who are still looking for the specific wrestlers they collect, if they're into Roman or Sasha or Becky, who the general names, they're still going to want those products. But I think people know that Topps has lost the license, and they're just kind of like, okay, whatever, we're moving on. AEW's got so much steam right now, and with the fact that the odds are so hard to pull some of these cards, I think people are going to continually be searching, whether that's on the secondary market, whether that's continuing to buy hobby, waiting on blasters, whatever it is. I think people are going to be just ripping so much of that and talking about it so much that it's going to continue for a while.
Let me ask you about that though, because you said the odds, people continue, everything's like that. Do you think that's a purposeful strategic plan by Upper Deck?
Could be.
That we're going to insert our autographs at a certain level that makes them so difficult to come by that collectors are going to go out there and it's going to create a higher value on that.
Could be, which I think is smart. Of course it's smart from their perspective because they sell more boxes, but it's also on the secondary market. Again, we've talked about these WWE autos where you're guaranteed 5 per box. Okay, well, when you pull those, they're worth $5 maybe.
Yeah.
With these, you're talking, close to $1,000 on the low end, probably on a lot of these autos because they're just so hard to find. And there's so many different types of fans in AEW that like different talent. Even some of them they're not even that big a star, but they're just such a huge fan of, this wrestler or that wrestler or this tag team or the manager. I saw somebody putting together a Tony Schiavone parallel, a rainbow.
I saw that. That was awesome.
It's amazing. I'm telling you, the AEW fans are just they're so much different than the WWE fans as far as their rabidness. So I think this is going to continue.
But you also have a cross fan base too, who are just strictly collectors. Like I like to collect. Like I'm a fan of both products, or I'm kind of a fan of both products, but they're into to collect as well. So
they're just wrestling fans.
They're just wrestling fans. So there's a Tony Schiavone collector. I think it's so cool. Like going after their version of like a rainbow almost of Tony Schiavone stuff. It's just so cool.
It is.
I love that it's pulling those kind of people into the hobby.
So the interesting thing I think is going to be, you talk about Panini Prism. I still think there's such a huge divide that's probably only going to grow between AEW and WWE. So I think a lot of those AEW collectors, there's the ones we just talked about that want to do both. But if they don't watch, because I see people that are like, I don't watch WWE anymore, but I don't miss an AEW. Like I don't even miss their after dark or whatever. So I think those people are going to be out. But I think you could potentially see the WWE Prism stuff even 5x the value of this AEW stuff because it's the Prism brand. It's like you said, the new eyeballs from the sports card world. They know right now Upper Deck only does hockey, and they used to do baseball or used to do basketball, but they know Prism, and they know Prism's been putting out high-end basketball for years and high-end football for years. So do you have a personal preference on what you're looking forward to out of all of these releases coming up as we start off 2022?
Well, I was looking forward to AEW. You and I both were when we went in and split a case with each other, and for various reasons. But I'm not overly thrilled about what's left of the Topps WWE stuff. Am I going to get a box or two of those? I might, depending on my LCS, if that, what kind of deal I can do with them. But I'm probably not going to get a box of Prism just because I think it's out of my price range right now. Unless something happens between now and then that allows me to go ahead and splurge on that. I think my wife might kill me otherwise.
There's the slim chance too that we could be shocked at the price point.
Oh, 100%.
Who knows?
I'd love to be shocked. I could be shocked either way. I could be more shocked that it's a $1,000 box at the gate, or it could be a $200 box.
Right.
Who knows? But I don't know. I obviously being a player collector of Dexter Loomis stuff, if he's in that product, if he's still in the company, who knows? They're laying off.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I will obviously be interested in that. I'm going to be the guy that probably be out there saying, if you got Dexter Loomis stuff and you got a reasonable price on your stuff, I'll be happy to take it. But that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
I'm interested in seeing what happens, the buzz with that, and how people kind of react to it. But for me, it's not going to change the way I collect. It's not going to change the way I do anything. It's just another product to me.
I am excited to see. I feel, you talked about how like WWE had so many products that like you couldn't keep caught up with. That's kind of how I feel with the carrying Killer Cross stuff right now. Yep. I have to call him by both names because the card says one, but he goes,
Oh, you put all three together. He's KKK. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. But like, I feel like I'm just trying to catch up on all these releases, and then this set comes out and this set comes out, and like trying to like.
But doesn't it make it easier to be a player collector in that respect then? Because it's like, I only have to focus on this one guy. I don't have to focus about.
Oh yeah, but it's the problem has been all these releases so short, so close together.
Yeah, true.
That it's been so, but I'm looking forward to see what he's got. And then after that, like, I'm just excited to see what else does AEW come out with. And then what is this like the thing for me that's going to be Prism, and they've got to do it, but it's going to be the legends for me. It's Hogan, Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker. Like I can only imagine the things they could do with the Prism and parallels and numbered stuff. And like, that Prism is notorious.
Can you imagine what a Kaboom Hogan's going to sell for?
Oh yeah, like there's so much they could do. It just depends on what kind of legends they're going to use, and what kind of roster they do. Are they going to have actually player worn stuff? Because at last year we've seen some manufactured patches showing up. They weren't even player worn, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But as we close out the show, get ready. Like, strap yourself in, put your seatbelt on, get your popcorn ready. It's going to be a heck of a year for wrestling cards. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being part of the wrestling card community. Like I said, it's going to be a great year. Hopefully you're going to stick with us. Regardless of what you're listening to us on, please subscribe. Leave us a review. Say it. Tell us we suck. Tell a 5-star Dave Meltzer review because you like us so much. Tell a friend about the show. We started making all this content, whether it's videos, podcasts, Tony's checklists, no matter what it is. We started this for education and to just expand the hobby and have fun. So hopefully you guys are going to stick along with us through the ride through 2022, and we're going to have some fun. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, just the usual. You can go and check out everything to follow WrestlingTradingCards.com at WrestlingTradingCards.com. That's where everything is at, social media wise, the bottom of every page of the entire website. As of this recording, I just started doing, we're going to be bringing all the images back. It's going to be a long process. It's going to take some time because it's just me. But I'm working on it already. I found a simple solution to kind of host the images. So still the ability to go ahead and comment and have good discussions about each individual image too. So all that stuff is coming, but everything you want to follow for WTC is going to be on WrestlingTradingCards.com.
And let me also say, there is a donation button attached to WrestlingTradingCards.com.
There is, all in the Twitter page like that, but that's just there if you. It's kind of like a tip jar.
It's a tip jar.
Yep. If you like what you see, like what you hear, feel like you want to help in some way, shape, or form, I'm not opposed to helping out because the site does cost money. Let's put the content stuff aside and the time that I take away from the family to do this stuff like that. But the site itself does cost money, and it's something that I fund out of my own wallet every month. Now I'm on an annual plan, so God, oh my God, coming up in May this year, going to have to be 1 year since I've switched everything over. So I'm going to have another gotta pay for it again. Oh my God. So, you know, anything that can be helped to keep the hobby growing and to help the informational type stuff, like our website going, it's always helpful, but you know, never required. Just if you enjoy it, even just saying thank you or just saying I enjoy what you guys are doing is always helpful.
I mentioned the tip jar because the more we get, the more we can do, whether that's content, whether that's giveaways, whatever it is you guys want, the more you support us with monetary perspective or with followers, just sharing the word, building the community, the more engagement, the more we can do for you, the listeners and the viewers. We thank you for spending your time with us today. Please subscribe, tell somebody about the show, keep collecting and having fun. We'll see you.